Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Spirit Society of Virginia. We'll start tonight's study with a message from Living Spring, psychographed by Emmanuel through the mediumship of Chico Xavier. The message is number 150, the prayer of a righteous person. The prayer of a righteous person can accomplish much. James chapter 5, verse 16. Considering the vital power contained in waves of desire, every impulse and every longing also comprises a prayer that emanates from nature. The worm that moves along with difficulty is actually beseeching an easier way to get around. The she-wolf caressing its cub is imploring lessons of love that may change its savage ways. Deep in their souls, primitive humans, when worshipping the thunder, are praying for explanations from the divinity so as to educate their impulses of faith. All the needs of the world, when translated into the efforts of living beings, are creatures pleased to the Creator and Father. For that very reason, if the desire of a good person is a prayer, the purpose of a bad or imbalanced one is also a prayer. Even then, however, we have the law of specific density. If you throw a stone at someone, it will immediately start to fall. If you put a few drops of cologne on someone's forehead, the aroma will spread into the atmosphere. If you free a snake, it will look for a hole. If you let the swallow loose, it will fly to the heights. Minerals, plants, animals, and human souls are constantly asking for something, and divine providence, through nature, is always answering. There are solutions that take a long time and answers that take centuries to come down from heaven to earth. But of all the prayers that do reach heaven, the apostle points out the fact that the prayer of a righteous person is clothed with intense power. This is because a righteous conscience, adjusted to the law, has already earned friendships and innumerable intercessions. Those who win friends accumulate love. Those who accumulate love build up power. So learn to act with justice and goodness, and your prayers will ascend without obstacles, supported by the vehicles of kindness and gratitude, because the righteous person, wherever he or she may be, is always a co-worker of God. Thank you.
Let us close our eyes, being mindful of this moment of therapeutical treatment that each of us are invited to join. Let us allow the inspirations from the higher realms to reach us, creating space for change, for reflection. And let us express our gratitude to God for bringing us here together once again. Thank you, dear God, for sending the good doctors and nurses, teachers from the beyond, to take care of us and our loved ones. Thank you for Emmanuel and Chico Xavier, for the many messages that they bring and allow us to keep progressing as spirits. And today, we want to especially thank you for the Blessed Center of the Spiritual Society of Virginia, and also Kardec Radio. That is a true spiritual home for all of us, as we are invited to think of ourselves and the new year to come. We can only imagine, dear God, what is in our future, thinking of all the goodness that is all around us. And with your permission and your protection, we ask to start the session of tonight, and so be it. All right. And the book goes on. Huh? There's no holiday break. We're going to continue this fascinating study. The first half of the book, Life and Sex, redefines family, relationships in the family, marriage, which is the foundation of family. It's very different. But it's so interesting when Emmanuel says that we need to learn to marry in spirit. It's a learning experience. And he says something that science nowadays, I remember in 2015, this scientific paper, and we were able to interview at Cardiac Radio one of the authors, and I forgot his name, but he talked about how praying for the partner, the spouse, helps bring them together. It's a scientific study. It proves to us that this prayer for the spouse can be helpful. So what Emmanuel is telling us in the 1970s is actually something quite tangible. He's not asking us, and when we say Emmanuel, not because the book is his idea, but he's translating to us part of the divine truth that is coaching all of us in how to form a family in reality. Because there are many people who have families, but they're falling apart, who are together with somebody, but they are not together. We're not saying marriage in written form, but in any partnership, are we really partners? Are we really summing up our lives? Are we really focusing on the same direction, though with our differences? But as interesting as this book is, the last chapter we studied is about attachments. Today, it's the opposite, detachment. Only Spiritism. So revolutionary. This is chapter 15, Detachments. He begins by quoting the question and the answer 205 in the Spirit's book. The question was about how much the knowledge and understanding of reincarnation helps us put families together or destroy. And the answer of the spirits was the understanding of reincarnation extends family ties. It does not destroy them. On the contrary, the conviction that the relationships of the present are based upon anterior affections renders the ties between members of the same family less precarious. So we're not together by chance. There's a reason. It makes the duties of fraternity even more imperative. Because in your neighbor or in your servant may be incarnated some spirit who has formerly been united to you by the closest ties of consanguinity or of affection. When he says neighbor or servant, it can be a housekeeper, it can be a colleague at work. These days, I think it was the Macaulay's family, Dr. Jim Tucker was involved in the investigation of a boy who is from Scotland And when he was 2, he recalled a previous life in an island 200 miles away from the family where they had never been. And he described everything. So there was a point in which the boy grew up, and at 4, he would look at the parents and say, I want my mom, not you. Imagine how hard it is. So they started researching therapists, and of course, they ended up in the famous Jim Tucker's studies and headquarters at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville. So he traveled all the way there, researched. They brought the boy and the family to the very place, the location, and everything matches. Everything. So that is a very strong case that can either counter this or reinforce what the Spirit said. Because he said, my family is there. How come we're here and you are not my family, right? Nowadays, everything's well. But there is a way for us to work on this and to know that in reality we're here today, but there are loved ones of ours that are somewhere else, either in the spiritual plane or somewhere on earth. And when we look at somebody else's country, or maybe loved ones who are dear to us are incarnated there and we're not supposed to meet in this life, but they are. So prejudices should fall apart. And these duties of fraternity become more, imperative to us. So tonight we want to ask ourselves if we're really becoming less attached, more detached, and allowing our feelings to be permeated to the reality that we are all equally brothers and sisters before God, and we're not supposed to restrict our capacity of love because the blood ties may not be amongst ourselves. This chapter will begin talking about exactly this, the detachment of those who love each other with the need to heal the mistakes and errors of love, usually take on the appearance of painful psychological surgery. That's how he begins this chapter. You see, the way Emmanuel writes, he is not writing for beginners in Spiritism. So it would be nice to have a book like this and hand it to somebody. They won't understand a word because you need a foundation. It's impossible. He doesn't begin writing a manual for beginners. It's only for those who already know Spiritism enough to understand what he's talking about. So first of all, he's talking about people who got together in previous lives, attracted to one another, felt something for each other, but made mistakes towards one another. Well, what kind of mistakes is he talking about? In regards to love, what is it?
Loving too much somebody else.
Or not. Or abusing. So we're talking about sexual abuse. We're talking about cheating. Right? Or feeling like you possess the person. Or abandonment. So these are mistakes, errors of love, that one day we'll learn how to reorganize our feelings in a very difficult way, to learn how to detach. So we better learn how to love without attachment so we don't need to go through this. Don't become symbiotic, like we are half of one another. That doesn't exist. That's not healthy. And in another life, we'll have to learn to detach. Emmanuel, when he was the senator Publius Lentulus, he treated his wife, Livia, as if she were his servant. Well, here he is, 2,000 years learning to detach from that feeling of possession. Because she ascended, and he's still around. It's not easy. So the first lesson for us is love without attachment. For a similar reason, divine wisdom grants beings, individuals, time and renewed conditions in the gradual preparation for the occurrence. Who remembers the book Sex and Destiny? When Marita discarnates dramatically in a tragic accident after a coma, she reincarnates as the daughter of her former fiancé and the daughter of her very sister. That is painful. Because of them, she reincarnates. Because of the mistakes and errors of love, the betrayal of the sister, the cheating of the fiancé, so painfully creating new conditions, little by little. Now, as a daughter, they're gonna rehearse a new way of loving one another, respecting each other.
In that case, you have both of the father and the mother with a distance from the child. The child would have difficulty with both of them.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Not necessarily, because sometimes, quite quickly, for example, in this case, the fiancé had feelings for her. So there was a connection. She had at first a good relationship with her sister, and then it all changed. And we understand it changed because of a previous life issue. So we're talking about many lives that are interconnected. So it's a duality, right? It's a love / I won't say hatred, but mostly like competing relationship, right? So little by little, as he says, a gradual preparation for the occurrence. So not necessarily it's going to be in one life. When we say, oh, it's going to be only this life, no, be ready, because we'll be encountering each other in lives to come to learn. If you go to the Bible, so interesting. If we see the stories of, for example, Joseph of Egypt, and we see how his brothers were jealous of him and sold him into slavery. We see in that scenario a repeat of many families, siblings who have issues. They like each other as long as you're not better than me, as long as you're not richer, as long as you're not prettier, as long as... So it's like, where were we before, right? Same for parents and children. And it's interesting here because Emmanuel is going to clearly talk about parenthood, including adoption. Okay? So for those who feel like adopting is not a real parenthood thing, think twice, because there's no difference. Zero difference.
Might even be more of it.
As a rule, he says, such detachment is verified in a noteworthy constant, the position of parents and children, including parents and adoptive children. So he's going to say that the need to detach is a category that exists between parents and children, no matter if they're adoptive or not. However, at the foundation of the paternal personality or the maternal heart rests the remnants of great affections, sometimes unbalanced and less happy, brought from other stages in the domains of reincarnation. Andre Luiz tells us in the book Nosso Lar, right? Who is going to reincarnate to be the mother of the affairs of the husband? The former wife. The mother. His mother says, your father is going to reincarnate, I'll be reincarnating, and his former lovers will be our children. Some people, they have a hard time get pregnant. I know it's a hard topic, but we have to talk about. And André Luiz explains this in many books, including Action and Reaction. Because many times, we don't want to reconcile with those spirits. We don't. Today I was talking to someone who said, did you realize, and this person is all the way in Florida, she said, did you realize how many twins are coming along? Many people having twins nowadays. I said, you know why? Mentor Joseph explains, because people don't want to have more than one. So then you better have two at once or else. Or you're going to think oh no, this is too hard. I'm not going to do it a second time. But then you've promised that you would. And then when we see people who have many kids, hey, don't say anything, because it's God's plans. No child comes to any reincarnation if God isn't vouched for it. So let's not criticize, and they better have it, because if it depends on us, we won't have them. Right? We won't. But he's saying here something that only Spiritism is capable of explaining to us. See how Spiritism is fascinating? It talks about the most difficult topics and unveils in a very sensible way. Saying, look, between parents, there are feelings that are unfinished, unresolved, unfinished businesses. Mm-hmm. You see sometimes children, when they become teenagers, they say, I don't trust you, Dad. And the father hasn't done anything. Where does that come from? I don't trust you, Mom. Where does that come from? From previous lives. Because we betrayed them. And only reincarnation explains. The little ones, the children, just coming from the natural amnesia that reincarnation imposes on them, cannot hide their preferences. So, of course, when we reincarnate, let's revisit. Where does it begin? First self. First self. Connected to the spirit. The development is a byproduct of this connection. And then, before reincarnating, there was the reduction of the spiritual body. And that promotes some form of forgetfulness of the past. So as we grow it's possible that the expansion of the perispirit allows some memories to come and surface. And then they start being different. They will show their preferences in regards to the parents. And they appear in them almost unexpectedly always, the uncontrolled inclinations in the whims with which they show themselves, demanding special attention of a father or mother to reveal in a clear way which direction they are going, direct the strongest ties. And that's the way it is. Oh, but, and then that some parents are upset. But I spend my whole day with him or her, but then when the father comes or the mother comes, they gravitate to them, they forget about me. You're ungrateful. It's not about that. It's about previous lives connections. But what are we going to do with this? We need to learn how to change it, sublimate it, and not reinforce it. Emmanuel doesn't talk about it here, but psychology can give us a hand to parents. At this moment, our inner child as adults is challenged. And we feel, oh, my child loves more my spouse than me. How many marriages end up because of the approximation of that new spirit? Many marriages. And the child is not actually doing much, but the vibrations become clashy. If my inner child is not being attended, I will fall into this illusion that this child loves me more than my spouse, and my spouse more than me. And then at the end of the day, I'm another child, and we have only children living under the same roof. And we see a lot of parents behaving like children, looking at their children, looking at their spouses as if they are children who need to be cared for instead of being the adult and saying, I'm the father and the mother. If they have this preference, even if they don't understand it, don't understand about reincarnation, it's my duty to conquer that heart. It's my duty as a parent. It's not a given. Every day, I'll conquer that heart. But not against the spouse, because it's not a triangle anymore. In this life, there's no triangle anymore. This child is not an affair. It's the child. We both are welcoming, even if we don't understand our reincarnation. The adult reasoning tells us that duty calls, and we're both, so there's no competition between spouses to gain the affection of the child. But that is only possible when we turn on the adult in us. Because if the inner child takes place and takes the lead, the family is going to fall apart. We have to be very vigilant. Generally, with many exceptions, in fact, daughters return to fathers and sons to mothers, revealing the nature of the bonds they had in past existences and foreshadowing the work of detachment that will inevitably run in the near future. So for a time, maybe that preference is going to be so prevalent that we'll feel like We'll always be like this, never gonna be apart. But it's just an illusion, because by the time they reach adolescence, inevitably, they will turn their eyes to new mates, right? Obviously, not all children. This is an exception. He opens a big parenthesis here. Not all children appear in the home categorized on the account of affective detachment. Since millions of spirits take the physical structure in the performance of simple or complex tasks, taking advantage of the parents' collaboration in the manner of friends who help each other in the bands of mutual trust and affinity. So, not necessarily we are born in a family and will be in need of detaching of those sick emotions between us and the parents or us and our child. Not necessarily. There are children like Jesus. He was out of this category. But not only Jesus, many other children. For example, we'll talk about a renowned French writer, Gabriel Delanne. He was a kid when his father was a close friend to Kardec. His father's name, Alexander Delanne. And he was in the mediumistic meetings. When he was 11 years old, Kardec placed him, near him and said, this boy is going to be a great spiritist in the future. And he was right. By 28, Gabriel Delanne, past Kardec's discarnation, writes his first famous book, which is not translated yet from French into English, but one day will. And really, like Leon Denis, Gabriel Delanne, and Camille Flammarion and others, they took the lead of Spiritism in France at the time. Gabriel Delanne didn't reincarnate under this category. He came for specific tasks together with his father in this mutual trust, affinity, helping one another in this mission of Spiritism. Very different. So we need to ask ourselves, we, in our original family, our parents, are we under this category or not? We need to know. In the Spirit's book, we get to know how important it is for us to know about ourselves. Are we? And if we are, have we succeeded in learning how to transform how we feel about our parents, spirit-wise? Because there are children who are adults and they become almost like partners to their parents. I mean, one thing is to be friends, mutual trust. The other is really to symbiotically rely on each other. Because we feel like if we are not like this, we're not going to be well at all. I remember this woman from Brazil. She got married, had her apartment, had a child. And she says, every day I eat at my mom's. Why? Oh, because her food is good. I said, but you have your house, right? You have your husband as well. Why don't you eat together? No, but we go there and we stay there until the end of the night and then we go home to sleep at home. And is your husband fine with it? No. Oh, okay. So then you better listen to your husband. If you want to keep your family and your marriage, grow up. You're no longer a kid. You have to grow up. So we need to learn to detach. So the second question is, how good I am I in detachment? Detachment doesn't mean not caring, not loving, It's about not possessing, not abusing. So now he's going to go back into these emotional disorders that need healing. We refer to the home as a detachment landing. That's so new to us. Because we think of the opposite, right? We need to be attached, but that's a wrong feeling. Because on earth, the relationships between parents and children, and consequently the relationships of family, constitute an ideal climate for the liberation of those who have joined each other from inconvenient way in emotional disorder in the name of love. So you see liberation, the word? So instead of being together to clump up together, it's to free ourselves. I remember this 8-year-old girl last year. She was upset because her friends were running away. They couldn't wait for her. And I asked her, why are you upset? And she said, because they didn't wait for me. I said, but are they your friends? Yes. So then, you want to imprison your friends? Is that what friendship is to you? To make them do what you want, when you want? You think they're going to be happy that way? You think they want to be your friends in that way? If you love your friends, you free them up. And I asked Virginia, who was her friend, I said, how do you feel? She said, I don't feel good because she doesn't allow us to be who we want to be. I said, see, if you want to keep this friendship, you need to be secure and set them free. If we have this, what is this? Selfishness. Pride. Your father is not yours. Your mother's not yours. My mother's not mine. My father's not mine. You know, our children, the other day, somebody came and said, you know, when families expand, new siblings come, and there is some people think that always jealousy is going to come in place. Not necessarily. But if it does, remember, don't feel sorry for your older ones, because they are learning detachment. It's important to expand our potentialities and say you're not losing anything, you're gaining, but you need to open yourself and give room for somebody else as well. Be less selfish, share the stage. So Emmanuel, I think of all the things he says in this chapter, he summarizes in this paragraph exactly what we need to know. That family is about learning to free ourselves, not the opposite. Oh, what do you want to eat? Everybody's saying. Like the Who family, right? In the Grinch. The Who's, everybody's alike. Everybody that likes. No, that's not healthy. What do you want to eat? Strawberry. It's like echo. What do you like? Strawberry, blueberry, banana, orange. That's normal. Oh, but I would love if everybody loved strawberry. Then I'm sick. That need to be symbiotically alike is not normal. Siblings are supposed to be different. And even the parents, right? We may like to pray, but in different ways. And that's okay. We don't need to create that robotic equality. So this liberation of those who have joined each other is very important. That we keep in mind that family is not about being alike, doing everything together, but it's about mutually supporting one another in their differences, in their different growths. This is revolutionary in Spiritism. That is how the wisdom of nature allows the reunion under the webs of kinship of those who in the past frenzied in another time in sexual abuse. A reunion that persists in more intimate and deeper conditions until the companions of the past tense, reincarnated in the position of children, reach youth in this new existence, electing new partners for their effective life, in the presence or supervision, parents or other relatives not always satisfied or calm with the choices that they are obliged to attend or to approve by force of circumstances. I see parents saying, oh my gosh, the day my children start dating, I need to know. You see the flag, the red flag is already there. If you're overly concerned, it's because you are in need of healing of this emotional disorder. Because your child is no longer your partner. And now you need to let go. Let go. They're going to go in their experiences. They need to know to love themselves and respect others. But time to go. And he says it's not easy. He says there are fathers who suffer in the delivery of their young women that the home has entrusted to them, to the companions who request for their tasks of marriage. Those fathers are almost always giving up the company of old affections that they themselves in the past barely carried, whereas mothers experience an analogous phenomenon of psychological laceration in separating from children who remind them, albeit unconsciously, of the ties exciting or less happy of other times, or times gone by. We need to understand it hurts for some. So we need to be understanding that in some cases it is hard. So what to do? Pray. Pray. If we can't talk, some people don't understand this, and we won't be able to talk to them about this. But we need to pray for them. Because it's for their own good, Emmanuel is going to say, that they set their children free. But there are parents who let their children go get married and they think it's not going to work. I know it's not going to work. He is not what she needs, or she is not what he needs. Nobody's up is good enough. So then we're sabotaging ourselves, because if our children don't get freedom from us, they won't grow, we won't either. And that's what he's going to say. Through the struggles and goodbyes in the family, with the creation of different nuclei in the kinship family, for the habitual transfer of children, whether to daughters-in-law, sons-in-law, or to tasks and experience different from theirs. The parents, whenever they respect the needs and resolutions of their own children, offspring, they achieve victory over themselves on the way to their own emancipation and immortality. So he says, either setting them free, allowing them to go to do what they need to do. Not only creating another family, but do what they gotta do in their tasks and experiences.
For many of us who came from another country or moved far away from the family, it's a lesson in detachment for all. For us who were allowed to be away, rest assured, we are in the category of learning to detach. But nowadays it's harder because we have cell phone, WhatsApp. It was easier to do this goodbye when we didn't have these things. Now it's much harder because there are people who are more attached to their family members who are far away than the family members who are near them under the same roof. They talk much more in the WhatsApp with those family members who are far away than the people who are under the same roof. So they're learning zero detachment because we're supposed. Shouldn't we talk to them? Yes, but not in this way. I know people who will turn on their Skype and spend the whole day connected to the family members who are far away. They don't know who is living in their city, state, country, but they know everything that is happening in the parents' house somewhere else, far away from them. It's a reality. So they are learning zero detachment. Minus 100. It's grave because we reincarnated and didn't reincarnate. We need to reincarnate. We need to learn how to let go, respect the needs and resolutions of one another. But respect in the sense of not taking advantage. And learning to let go. To let go. To let go. And the question for us today is really, what kind of law is this? The law of destruction. This chapter is all about the law of destruction in the Spirit's book. It's a divine law. We need to destroy what was not right. We cannot love our family members in ways that are suffocating, abusive, oppressive, tyrannical. We need to love in sublime ways. How are you? Can I do something? But I'm not in a way like we can't go shopping without asking, should I buy this car? Without asking somebody, who is not even there, who doesn't even belong to the financial relationship. Should I have a child? Well, you shouldn't ask somebody else but the spouse who is with you, right? Should we? Nobody else has to interfere.
You really see this dynamic in the parents that struggle with the children that want to do something that they don't want to do, some job they don't want to take up. They see they need to be a doctor or a lawyer.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And they want to be a musician or
Exactly.
some other field that just breaks your heart.
It breaks the heart. So how to love, because it seems that Emmanuel is telling us to care less. No. He's talking about healing these feelings of belonging that are separating us from the rest of humanity. That's what he's saying. He's saying, like, when you care for this person more than your neighbor, it's a problem. When we think that that person who is under our roof, our family circle, is more important than anybody else, This is not healthy.
Try.
We need to transform. That's what it's saying. Transformation. We need to transform it. To transform.
That is so difficult.
So today the lesson is about learning to let go. We're about to let go of 2022. We're a day away. Beginning a new year. See how it matches? Detach. Some people are feeling anxious already. They're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen in 2023? They are anxious. They are nervous. They are like tense, thinking that it's going to be a box of surprises. Mamma mia. Life simply goes on. It's a natural consequence of every day. Of course, it's a new year. Of course, physically speaking, it's a new moment. It's a moment of renewal, but we need to let go. What do we need to let go in this year that we no longer need? So you see, it matches the timing of the message, right? We need to let go of those experiences that were difficult, of the attachments, of whatever nature. And he says here, achieving victory over ourselves, emancipating ourselves for immortality. Why did God make it in such a way that we would have to go through this? Isn't that interesting? Some people say, Vanessa, so tricky to think that my child is a former affair from a previous life. No, what is funny is the way we see one another. Because the day we see each other with greater respect, we won't see it in that way. The problem is not knowing that the shadow was an affair. The problem was the affair. The problem was that we didn't see that person in that sublime way. Because we think, oh, my child, well, but your spouse, your affair, is as child of God as, your child. So if you think this is precious, treat those as special as well. Like sublimate the feelings.
It keeps going back to this respect for everybody, not just the family members or the close friends.
Yes. So respect the needs and the resolutions. So it's a very interesting exercise. Usually parents have a very hard time renouncing a lot about themselves to give to their children. And often we tend to expect something in return. To say, I stopped my career because of you, and now you're going to completely unexpected direction. Oh my gosh. What is this? You're so ungrateful. But our duty has nothing to do with their right. We fulfilled our duty. What they're going to do with it is not towards us, it's before God. So it changes the way we parent. It changes the way we feel about our partners. It changes the way we feel about the relationship between our child and our partner. It changes our expectations, hopefully turning them all into hope, no expectation. And also educating our children to detach from us. we see that they are attached in a way that is not healthy, let's do what Professor Oedipus Barçanufo recommended. Talk to them spirit to spirit, saying, look, God created us equally. In this life, I am your mom, but not forever. I am your dad, but you don't possess me because you say my. I'm not your possession. I don't rule over you, and neither you over me. When we see that they grow older, I saw a reel the other day. It was so funny. It was this teenage girl representing the daughter, the adolescent daughter of a divorced mother. So divorced mother is going out with somebody, with a guy. And then the adolescent daughter asks, where are you going to go? What time are you going to be back? So it reverses the roles. And psychology says, don't allow that to happen, to reverse the roles. A parent is always a parent. A child is always a child. A child cannot, shall not tell the parents what to do unless they are incapacitated. Obviously. But we can't reverse it. When we reverse it, we're failing as parents. When the child says, Mom, you can't use this shirt. Why? I don't like it. I don't think it's appropriate. I say, I respect your opinion, but I like it. I'm going to use it. We can't reverse it. And below 18 years of age, of course, we say, you shouldn't use this. And I say, you shouldn't use it, meaning you won't use it. When they are past 18, they can, oh, I disagree, I'm going to use it anyways. But we can't reverse it. When we reverse it, and we children of our parents, we can't go there either. We have to refrain. Because often we feel tempted when our parents grow older, say, but you should do this, you should do that. And then it's not helping them because their role is their role, and it's still their role. We can't go there. So it's a form of detachment for us as well, to respect their needs as parents, their resolutions, as much as we need ours to be respected. So this chapter is one of the most revolutionary in the book, inviting us to something that Kardec says in the book, Heaven and Hell is so important for a good discarnation, detachment. To detach emotionally. To love without attachment. It's very tricky, but it's a good challenge. Knowing of it, we can coach ourselves to these sublime levels. Like Jesus, he loves us without attachment. He doesn't impose, he doesn't demand, he doesn't expect. He loves. He's not like, okay, whatever you like, Vanessa. Jesus is not saying that. Okay, is that the way you want it? Go ahead, do it. You'll see the consequence. Jesus doesn't say that. He says, okay. He's going to do as he always done. He's done, watches over us, is here near us. And that's why we always finalize saying the best therapy is coming from Jesus. There is no way for us to achieve this detachment without his modeling for us. The unconditional love, the love that doesn't demand, that doesn't oppress, that doesn't do anything but accepts and supports. But he keeps going, huh? He's not loving like, okay, now I'm stuck because you guys are stuck. You think he's stuck? He's governing the earth and we're here delaying the progress. And he's like, guys, I could have been built like 3 more galaxies by now. He's building them and taking care of us. So detached love free us to keep progressing as we give freedom for others to be who they need to be. Let us then finalize this last meeting of the year. Right? Can you believe the whole year went by? And we finish with detachment. Yeah. Let go. As Wayne Dyer used to say, let go to let God. Let go to let God. So how about if we play the encounter with Jesus, the visualization as our passes moment before the final prayer? Shall we?
You already know how to conduct yourself. Let us begin this new visualization by taking up a good position. Breathe, always slowly. As you breathe, relax. Let go all of your tensions. Allow your body to release you. Spirit. The only way you can do this is by relaxing. Begin relaxing. As you breathe in a tranquil rhythm. Modern life causes us many pressures of a psychosocial nature that make us lose our harmony. Conflicts of various origins that unbalance us. Difficulties, which are in fact existential challenges that discourage us. But now, you will be able to free yourself from all these afflictions by sending to your unconscious and a mental reprogramming everything that is necessary for a healthy and harmonious existence. Visualize a mountain. Visualize a mountain, or a mount, or a range of mountains. Whatever is familiar to you. Visualize it. Now, transfer yourself there. It is nighttime, and nature is festive. And you are at the top of the mountain. Let your eyes drop and reach the horizon. And you can still notice the last rays of sunshine. Note the other mountains are already in darkness. And the sky full of stars. Observe you are alone. We are rarely alone. And now, you are alone. Alone with God. God fills the universe and is beyond it. At this moment, you can feel him closer. Let him penetrate you. At a distance, you can hear the music made by the wind, the various sounds of nature. And you are all alone on this immense mountain or in the place of your choice. Walk slowly, absorbing the oxygen, nature's purest and most rarefied oxygen. Breathe it in. Let yourself be filled by this blessing that maintains organic life, all life on earth. Breathe in gently. Hold it. Breathe out. Look at the sky once again. You might identify some of the stars if you are familiar with them. But taking your eyes down in a straight line, you can see in front of you, at a long distance, the star that is moving. You can see a moving star. Observe it. It is shining brightly. It is coming towards you, and you are dazzled. As you contemplate it, it is coming closer and closer. And now, it's only yards away. It has the size of a human body, and it has become one. Observe this body, the long robes, the white material, the stoic head, surrounded by hair with combs of a honey-colored light, or a golden color. The beard over the slim chest, mixed with his hair. The strong nose. Observe the lips, full lips, slightly open, and the eyes like two torches. The ample forehead. You know him. It is Jesus. It is Jesus who has come closer to you. Observe him. There he is. He comes a little closer, and you see him in all his glory, irradiating the gentle light. He looks at you. The expression is one of tenderness. There is an air of melancholy, and he emanates much love. He seems to say to you, without words, Ask me for something. I have come to help you. Ask me for something. This is a moment, a very important moment in your life. Don't ask for trivial things. Meditate on something with great meaning, something profound, something great. And when I count to 3, ask him for it. Be brief, without justifications, without explanations. Think about what you will request. Think about it now. I will count. 1, 2, 3. Now, ask him. He has already registered your request, and he opens his arms, coming closer to you, to embrace you. Embrace him. Embrace him. He melts in your arms and goes into you, disappearing within you. Remember that he said, I am the life. And he is within you now, impregnating your immortal and triumphant spirit. Do not become melancholic anymore. Do not think about possible future disappointments. Do not allow yourself to hold unjustified, tormenting ideas. He is within you. So say this: I am life, and a triumphant life. Say it again, and once again. Say, I am happiness in life. Repeat it. I am fulfilled, and so I shall remain. Look at yourself. You are irradiating his light. Again, look at yourself. You are irradiating his light. Breathe it. Hold it. Breathe out. Say to yourself, nothing of a disturbing nature deserves my attention. When I return to the objective reality, I will conserve the presence of Jesus within me, and I shall be healthy, happy. Even when I'm faced with the struggles of evolution, in view of the challenges, I will remain healthy as I am now. Project this onto your conscious mind and reprogram your life You deserve to be happy, and you are happy. Now, it is time to come back. Come back to the place where your body is. Come back. Take it totally. Feel its organic sensations. Keeping your eyes closed. Breathe in. Hold it. Breathe out. Listen to the music in the air. Hear it. Open your eyes. Feel the sensation of well-being that you retain. Gently move. If you want to, you can yawn. You can stretch. But whatever there might be, never lose touch with the sensation of well-being that you have brought back from the mountain or from the mount where you were. Hold on to this sensation and repeat the experience your God, helping Jesus to answer your request through a positive attitude, an idealistic mind, a pacified heart, and thanks to the inner change for the better that you will make in this very existence so that you can be happy.
Dear Master Jesus, we feel humble to be at your presence, even more closer tonight. What a blessing, Master Jesus, to be just one day away of closing this last year of 2022. We thank you, Master Jesus, for this reincarnation, for allowing us to be here in the planet that you created, that you planned every single detail, and for giving us the opportunity to once again be incarnated on earth to learn, to love, to serve, and to redo mistakes of the past. We bless this year and our past because it's blessed. And we welcome the new year feeling hopeful, strength renewed, as you invite us to renew ourselves daily. Let us take this opportunity. And tonight, especially, we pray that we can succeed in our tasks of detachment. as we free ourselves and we free others in our lives. We send this vibration to all those in our lives that we're still learning to detach. And reciprocally, that they are learning to detach from us. We pray that tonight, if you allow us, we can go to specialized schools in the spiritual realm to truly learn skills and tips on how to succeed in this reincarnation. We pray for all those on earth who are still in this task as well. Parents, children, loved ones. We pray for those who are this very moment suffering because of still the ties of attachments. We pray for those who need much more than we do and who are at this very moment going through difficult moments, physically, mentally, and spiritually. And we send these vibrations to our whole planet so that we can welcome 2023 renewed, strength, and hopeful. As you, Master Jesus, is always by our side. And with much gratitude in our hearts, we ask your permission, Master, to end this meeting of tonight. And so be it. Dear friends over the internet, we hope you have a blessed day, a blessed evening, and that you stay connected with us, because here we'll have many more programs coming up. And we will see you next year, next Friday here as well. Have a beautiful evening, friends. Bye-bye.